Interpreter Guide for People with Deafblindness, Fernanda. Hello everybody, I am Fernanda. You already know me from my channel. And today, I'll talk to you about one of the professionals who works in the area of deafblindness. So today I came to talk about who the interpreter guide is and what he does. Then I'm going to show some slides and read what is written on each one. Then we will start with the deafblindness classification. Although we already have a video about it, I'm just going to pick it up because it's important for us to remember that, to think about the forms of communication. We have the person with deafblindness without residue, no vision and no hearing. We have the person with low vision and deafness. We have the person with blindness and hearing impairment, and we have the person with low vision and hearing impairment. In which of these categories the person may or may not have another associated disability, and still be considered a person with deafblindness and not multiple disability. So here we have the congenital and the acquired deafblindness we've already talked about previously. Here we will emphasize the acquired deafness, which is when the person acquires the deafness throughout his life. And the professional who deals with a person with deafblindness is the guide interpreter. Who is the interpreter guide? He is a professional responsible for making the link between the person with acquired deafness and their environment. So he makes that relationship between space and the person. He becomes the eyes, ears, and mouth of the deafblind person and consequently needs to be a person of trust and ethics. What's the role of an interpreter guide? You have to understand the message and interpret it to the deafblind person using the most appropriate form of communication, that is, the interpretation. He needs to do the translation of the message for people in general, in this case, the translation. He describes an environment, people and actions around, giving details without interfering and the reactions of these people. Then he makes the audio description. In addition, he acts as the guide, assisting in the displacement. See that there are 4 main actions that depend on the interpreter guide. Some of the forms of communication we had talked about at other moments. So we have Libras in the small field, which is the sign language that's made very close to the face in order to make sure that the person focuses on the face of the signer so this person is able to understand the signals. We have the tactile Libras, so the hand that moves down is the guide's hand and the hand on the top is the deafblind's hand. We have the tactile manual alphabet. For example, I would write the word casa, house in Portuguese, using the letters of the alphabet. Doing the CASA dactylology of the Libras alphabet in the hand of the deafblind. There is also the Braille tactile that is represented for the Perkins machine. We know that it has 6 dots of the Braille code where you press and you can start forming the Braille letters. For example, the deafblind person would stay with his hand under and the guide would put this on top and it would imitate the Perkins machine movement to make sure the deafblind person understands what is being written. Braille on the fingers. We use the first 2 fingers and pretend they are a Braille cell. Then a Braille cell has 6 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we would write each letter organizing the dots. For example, for the letter C, I would do point 1 and point 4. The letter A is point 1 and so on, until I do the whole word, totem. The middle 3 fingers often fall along the speaker's chin, picking up the vibrations of the speaker's throat. You can put more in front of the mouth, placing lower in the neck, depending on the deafness person. We have the extended speech, where the guide reproduces what is being heard very close to the ear of the deafblind person. We have the writing in the palm of our hand, where we use the 5 fingers as the vowels. Here we have the vowels A, E, I, O, U, and you keep writing. For example, casa, C, A, S, A, space. If I make a mistake, I erase. Then I keep building the word. We also have the Braille learning board. It's a board where you have all the letters in Braille. You must hold the deafblind finger in the place where you want it to go in order to facilitate understanding. We can do in both ways, in Braille and in Portuguese. With letters of the alphabet in regular pen, we can also do it. We have technical tools with Braille output, which are called Braille lines, that they can be attached to the phone on the computer in different places. And we have the haptic social communication, which is used along with other forms of communication. What does the interpreter guide do? He describes objects, environments, people, and meals. They are the main things thinking about the situation to describe. The interpreter guide will also work with the issue of guidance and mobility. What does guidance mean? It refers to knowing where you are and where you want to go, as well as how you can get to the place. That's guidance. Mobility refers to moving in environments safely and effectively, so that the deafblind can move within his space, in an enclosed space, in the street, even with his guide, but also with his cane and move through other spaces. And the training of this professional, who offers? Today, we still don't have an academic background. We don't have a course, an undergraduate or a graduate degree. Within the classification of functions, it's in the register of occupations in the class of interpreters. The interpreter guide is not constituted in Brazil as a certified and registered professional yet. And today, Grupo Brasil has offered training in this area. Grupo Brasil has been offering training for interpreter guide in all the kinds of communication that I mentioned here, because some people think that working with deafblind is all about sign language. It's a misconception. There are many deafblind who uses other kinds of communication besides sign language. So there is no use to know a form and say that I am a professional, but I need to know all of them. Because today I can be with someone who uses Libras in a reduced field. Tomorrow I can be with someone who uses Torama. Tomorrow with someone who uses extended speech. And I needed to master all these techniques. Where can I work? In different places and fields, from academics to hospitals and so on. The interpreter guide acts in all spaces. For example, to go to a theater, to go to the movies, a dance session. In any situation, the deafblind person needs an interpreter guide to accompany him. So it's a function that has a very big applicability if you think the market very large, although it's not yet fully recognized as a profession, but we have been working hard. I am an interpreter guide. I am a researcher in the field, and I always recommend people who are interested in knowing or acting as a guide, that look for training and that they can improve their skills. Okay guys, see you. We will hang out here, and in a few days we will have more videos. Credits: Translation in Libras, Brazilian Sign Language, by Priscila Travassos. Portuguese subtitles by Miriam Freitas. English subtitles by Emanuele Valente. Subtitle review by Paulo Mota. Dubbing by Ana Carolina Toledo. Edition by Fernanda Falkoski and Renan Antonello.